Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. I hope that you are all good. In today's video we are doing a Milky Mystic nail art design. I had a lot of fun doing this design and it's been a design that I've wanted to do ever since these Kiki London rubber bases launched, these particular Milky shades, and I just completely forgot about it. And then I was reminded recently that I wanted to give this design a go, where you have a milky white base and then white stamping on the top. And I have to say it was a lot of fun to do, and it was a design that I really liked the look of, so I definitely think I'll be playing around with it and doing it a little bit more. We will talk a little bit further along about the design, as it is predominantly a lot of stamping, but for now I just wanted to take a moment to talk about the rubber color base system. So these are some of my absolute favorite products. They come in, I believe there is 8 different shades in the Kiki London rubber color bases, but recently they launched these 2 milky shades, and this one here is one of my favorites. It is a beautiful sheer milky white, and it's really great for doing those popular milky nail art designs. Now the brilliant thing about the rubber color bases is they can be used as a regular base coat, so you can pop a color over the top of them, or you can come in and apply a second coat of color and use the base coat as a color. I hope that makes sense. I'm not quite sure how to word it, but this is what I'm going to be doing here today. So I've come in and I've applied my first coat, which is going to be your base coat layer, and then I'm going to come in and apply a second coat, which is going to be the color coat layer. And you don't necessarily have to add a second coat if you don't want to, but it does bring the color, like the true shade of the color, to the nail a little bit more. So I'm just applying these in fairly thin coats. The other thing that I really love about the rubber color base system is it is brilliant for strengthening weak or brittle nails. The regular clear base that Kiki London launched was one of my absolute favorite base coats, and then they brought them out in color forms, which I think is really great, especially if you're just wanting to do a quick manicure. Because for example here, I haven't got to come in and do 2 coats of gel polish color. I've just got to do 1 more coat over the top of my base coat. So now that we've done the second coat of color, you can see a little bit more the opacity in 2 coats. I really love this one. Now for this design, I'm going to be using this Simply Polished Mystic plate. Now I did get this plate sent to me to review just before Christmas. However, I haven't actually got around to using this one. I used the other plates that I was sent, but I didn't get a chance to use this one. And I don't know why, because this style is one of my favorite styles. I really love all these celestial mystic designs, so I had to use this in this particular design. Now whenever I'm doing any kind of stamping, I like to get everything ready. I just find that stamping goes a lot more smoothly if you've got everything that you need to hand. So I've got my plate, I'm going to be using the Simply Polished stamper, I've got my lint roller to clean with, and I'm using the CJS white stamping polish. Now when I very first started stamping, I kind of avoided full cover images because I found them the hardest to transfer for some reason. So I always stuck to just using small little images. However, the more stamping you do, naturally the better you get at it, and now I feel quite confident when it comes to doing these full cover stamped images. As you can see, this one picked up effortlessly. So I'm gonna do the same kind of image. I'm doing a full cover image on all 4 of the nails, and what I loved about this particular design is I weren't 100% sure how well the white would pop over a milky base, because this was my first time trying this design, but it popped and worked really well. I absolutely loved how that white stamping looked over that milky white base. You do need to be careful if you're doing this kind of design, because you don't want a too pigmented white base, because naturally then it's not going to show up the stamping. But I'm definitely going to play around with some different white bases and see how I can get it to look. Now I have left all the stamping in real time so I can talk you through some steps. So we've done that first image, and something that's very important is that you make sure you give your stamping plate a good clean. So I'm cleaning with acetone on a little lint-free pad. I find acetone works the best as it just removes that stamping polish super quickly. So I've made sure to give the plate a good clean. Now I will always do this at the start, even if I haven't used the plate before, just to make sure there's no dust or oils or anything on the plate, because anything on the plate will affect your pickup. So always make sure that you've got a nice clean plate to work with. Then I'm going to take my stamping polish and I'm going to apply a generous amount of it to roughly half of the image, and then scraping that excess down, it's going to fill in the rest of the image. Now I feel like when I first used to go wrong doing full cover images is because I'd apply my stamping polish to the whole design, and this ended up being a little bit too much stamping polish and it would smear and smudge and I wouldn't get a good pickup. So I definitely find it better when you're doing a full cover nail image, just apply the stamping polish to half of the image and make sure that you're scraping so that the rest of that stamping polish fills the rest of the image. And then that way you're not wasting any stamping polish, for one, and two, you don't end up with so much excess polish that is smearing over the plate, because sometimes your stamper will then pick up those smear marks. Now when it comes to cleaning my stamper, I always clean it with a lint roller. This is just sticky, so it pulls the image off, or any excess image off of the stamper. People always also use their scrapers, for example. You can use anything really, but I just find that the sticky lint rollers pick off that image effortlessly. They are a little bit large and bulky to have on your nail desk. I have seen a lot of people recently using the sticky pads. I think CJS sell them, and I know a few more stamping companies are starting to do them as well, but I haven't personally tried them myself. Now here you see I've cleaned off my plate with my acetone, but it was still quite wet, so I just wiped over it with a dry paper towel. This is also because if you leave too much acetone on your stamping plate, if it's still wet with acetone when it comes to applying your stamping polish, then it's going to water down your stamping polish and it might not look as pigmented. So if I'm being quick, I tend to just give it a quick dry rather than waiting around for that acetone to dry. Now the next image that we're going to be using is slightly larger, and it is also down in the corner of the plate. And this was another thing that I used to struggle with, was picking up images on the corners or the very edges of the plate. I just find it used to be a little bit hard to scrape them, and I don't know why, I just used to always struggle with those images. And then I mentioned it in one of my videos, and one of my subscribers said in the comments, why don't you just turn the plate? And for some reason this had never dawned on me. Like whenever I'm stamping, I just keep my plate effectively facing the right way round. But it's true, if you just slide your plate or turn it even completely upside down, it makes stamping those images that are in the corner a lot easier, because you're able to scrape away from the edge of the plate, and then you don't kind of like come off the plate and things like that. I can't quite describe it, but it just makes pickup a lot easier, or scraping a lot easier for those images that are in the bottom corners or very close to the edges of the plate. Different plates do differ. Like for example, this one, the edges curve off because the plate's on a white backing. So I definitely find it easier on these style plates to scrape away from the edge of the plate. So there it definitely was easier to spin that plate around, so I weren't sort of scraping so close to the edge. Now we have one more image to stamp down. Just giving my plate a really good dry again. This acetone as well can make your plates look smeary, so if you don't want that, you can use alcohol, which doesn't tend to make them look as smeary, but I do find drying them removes all of those smear marks anyway. So again, we're going to apply that stamping polish to half of the image. As you can see, I'm not applying too much. I'm going to scrape it and it covers that image beautifully. There was a little bit of smearing, so I scraped again just to get rid of that. And then as you see there, I always, with my stamper, just do a quick flick of the wrist and light pressure picks up that image effortlessly. This is just how I've always found stamping easier. If you apply too much pressure or be too slow, then I don't find pickup as good. But a quick flick of the wrist is the best way I've found to describe it. Picks up that image beautifully. You will also have seen on all of the images as well, I press them down and rock from side to side. This way that I'm just doing this to make sure that that image has pulled on or pushed on to the nail tip perfectly. And just by giving it a little rock, it sometimes helps ease that off. Now I am going to be adding a little bit of gold leaf over the top of the stamping. So anytime I'm doing anything layered over the top of the stamping, I will come in and seal my stamping in first of all with top coat. So I'm going to take the Kiki London top coat. Now this top coat does leave a tacky layer. So it's brilliant for any kind of layered nail art design because once it's cured, it's still got a tacky layer. So I'm going to be able to stick my gold leaf into that tacky layer that's left behind. So I would highly recommend checking out this top coat if you do love any kind of layered nail art. It's one of my favorite effects or designs to create. Now for my gold leaf, I'm using this gold leaf that's from Charlie's Nail Art. It does come in a little pot and you do have to break it up yourself. So off camera, I've just broke a few pieces up and popped them in a palette. And then just taking my Kiki London silicone tool, I'm picking up those gold leaf pieces and just pressing them down into that tacky layer that's left behind on the top coat. If you don't have a top coat that leaves a tacky layer, you can also use foil gel to do this, or even a base coat. Just make sure you cure it and it's got a little bit of tack there that you can press the gold leaf down into. This is going to help hold that gold leaf in place so that when it comes to top coating, it doesn't move around too much. So then here what I'm doing is once I've picked those little pieces of gold leaf up, I'm just pressing them down into the design, and it kind of just added a really fun element and effect to the nail design, especially where you've got the white stamping polish over the milky base. It doesn't look super bold, but then the gold over the top looked quite bold, and I really loved the effect that it gave off. I really also love how milky white and gold work together. One thing I didn't notice until I'd finished doing this set though is I'd pretty much placed the gold leaf on the same place on all of the nails. It didn't look very random, but I did like the effect that it gave off. So just gently pressing this into place. The more you play around with it, the more it will break up and disperse. So if you don't want it to disperse too much, just flatten it down without nudging it or moving it around too much. Now I do have a discount code for Charlie's Nail Art as well as Kiki London. So I will leave them on screen for you guys, and they are also in the description box below. And that just gets you 10% off if you decide to order from those. And whilst I'm finishing this up, I'm going to once again apologize for the lack of uploads. First of all, I think I missed like 2 weeks of uploading due to the Easter holidays and my little girl getting chickenpox, and then they went back to school, and then there was bank holiday, and then there was the strike days. So my 2 girls were off school because the teacher strike, which I fully support the teacher strike, but it meant getting work done was so hard. And then because I was playing catch up with work, I didn't have lots of time to do nails. So I'm a little bit behind with the content that I had planned, but I did manage to film 2 videos today. So once they are edited, I will get them uploaded. And then yeah, if you have any content that you'd like to see from me, please do pop it in the description box below. Lately I feel as though I've been massively lacking nail inspiration, so any little nudges of what you'd like to see would be great. I was also thinking of maybe doing some different style videos. I'd love to start doing some more reviews or more hauls, and I was thinking maybe some behind the scenes stuff like desk tours, organization, things like that. I'm just having a little think around, so let me know what you would like to see in the comments below. Lastly, I'm just going to come in here and apply my Kiki London No White rubber top coat just to seal that gold leaf in and completely finish off the design. I love the rubber top coat for sealing in any kind of nail art, but it does also give a beautiful shine as well. And then this, guys, was the finished result. So this is a super simple, easy nail art design, but I think it looks a lot more... It looks as though there's a lot more going on than what it actually took to do. So I thought it was really pretty. As always, thank you all so much for watching. If you did enjoy today's video, please do give it a thumbs up and leave me a comment below. I hope you're all keeping safe and well and having a wonderful day wherever you are. Lots of love, take care, and hopefully I shall see you all again very soon in the next video. Bye bye.